welcome to another edition of Odin Writes Shit. Today I am on a quest to find the perfect red. And there's a yellow thrown in here too for no apparent reason. I finally used up all the ink that I had in all of my preppies, so I have filled them with my samples of the red purchases that I have gotten from Goulet a long time ago, and I've still just started to finally actually record this. But in any case, looking back, I was looking up the companies as to what I actually selected for my reds to try out, and I had apparently had a thing for Atramentis or something. It was kind of weird. But without further ado, let us start with the first one. This one is Atramentis Dante Alighieri. Atramentis apparently has a lot of author-influenced inks, which is kind of fun. This one is a lovely pinkish red hue, and it sticks pretty well to the surface of my pen, which is kind of something I'm not a fan of, but eventually it does shrink to the bottom. Because eventually, if I'm going to want to fill these, I'm going to want to get a lot of mileage out of it, and if it's all stuck to the top of the pen, I'm obviously not going to be using it. But without further ado, let us go with some Dante. And I can't spell. There's supposed to be a T in there somewhere. Pipeline. Now this one actually is a really enjoyable shade. It's kind of a pinkish burgundy going on. Let me show you what I mean. Get some light on that. Alright. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with my brain right now. Yeah. I think I might want to start over again. There's also not a lot of shading going on with this, I kind of see. Obviously, with the first few strokes, it's a little bit darker, but it's kind of hard to distinguish, which, you know, I kind of appreciate. With that, now let us see what happens with regular paper, because once again, I am the type of person that doesn't like to spend a lot of money on my notebooks, so I'm kind of going to want to, if I'm going to spend money on pens, I'm not going to want to spend money on the paper too. That's just me. So let's look at what it looks like from copier paper. Not copier paper, notebook paper. I should do copier paper too, but, you know, I like the lines. Alright. Not a lot of feathering on this one, which is nice. I'm actually pretty happy with the way Atramentis performs. That apple blossom that I got in the Maze Ink Drop Club, I had a lot of fun with because it wasn't bleeding all over the paper. And these platinum preppies tend to be actually pretty heavy with the ink flow. So the way it's just really sticking to the paper isn't bad at all. And there is quite a bit of a bleed through when you can see. I can kind of see myself being a little distracted by the writing on the reverse side of the paper. There's a few splotches that are more easily visible. But, yeah, not too bad at all. Let's see what it does with some water thrown at it. Brush test. Something along those lines. That's not too bad. Obviously, with the light strokes, you're not going to get too much going on. But with the full saturation, it's pretty bad. You can still distinguish what you got which you have written down, but probably not something that I would keep looking for, or not something that I would really use permanently. I like the shade, but it isn't exactly what I was looking for. I'm looking for more for like a blood red color. Actually, I was kind of crossed. I was just trying to decide between a blood red or a pinkish red. This one does satisfy the pinkish red category, and I might keep it for that, but not certain if I could purchase this one again. This is the Dante from De Atramentis. Let us move on. Let's see. This one is also from De Atramentis, the Cherry, the scented line. I'm kind of disappointed that the scented stuff really doesn't last. As soon as it's on the paper, it's got like a few seconds that it kind of maybe has sort of a little bit of a whiff, but not very long. But I chose this one because it was more of a blood red color, at least from the samples. But let's try it out. It is not something that I would really call cola or cherry. No, this is cherry. This one I would call more of like a, well, black cherry, maybe. It's pretty dark. The smell, unfortunately, is pretty terrible. It smells like cough drops, Luden's cough drops, or those berry cough drops. Because usually when you just say cherry without any modifier, you usually picture bright red or something. But yeah, it's still a deep burgundy. It's actually what I would picture as a black cherry, but they didn't call it black cherry. I don't know why I'm so fixated with that and why that bothers me so much, but it does. And I'm just letting you know. There is not a lot of shading in this whatsoever. I'm just kind of brushing along, and it's just... no, it's okay. Not my favorite thing to do. Let's try it on the lined notebook paper. Ugh, spelling today is not good. Anyway, let's write a little blur for screw-ups, because you're going to screw up a lot of times when you write. And I don't make a line thing because it's not my style. This one's a little heavier when it comes to the line. And I was writing actually pretty fast, but you can see a little bit of feathering, nothing really detrimental. But the line is a lot thicker than the Dante, which you can see. And looking from the back, this one will definitely be a lot more distracting. You can definitely see the points where I've messed up. And, yep. Now let's put water to it. Put water to it. And go. Oh, that's not bad. Whee! Oh, let's really saturate it. And go everywhere. This one actually has a lot more staying power. Like, I'm destroying the paper faster than I'm destroying the ink. It's definitely got a mark that is noticeable, and you can tell what you have written. But yeah, it'll stay. I mean, it's obviously not going to be perfect, but if you spill a few things, like rain gets to it, or you spill your soda on it, it's not going to be devastating. Which is kind of strange to think about it, because this one's the scented one, and this one's the regular one from De Atramentis, but this one seems to be more damaging. So it's either got something to do with the pigment, or maybe the color formula itself is something that determines that. But this was De Atramentis Cherry. It's closer to the color I was looking for, but not exactly. You know, you have that particular color in mind in your head, and you really won't stop looking for it. You'll just keep trying things over and over, but when you know you have it, you have it. But this is not that one. Let's see, what have I got next? I have... Next, also from Atramentis, is Sepia Brown. And now you're asking me, why am I putting Sepia Brown in the red category? Because let me tell you, the samples look red. It kind of has a reddish hue to it, but it's still a brown, and I was arguing with the other person involved in this hobby whether or not to categorize it as red or brown, but it's still pretty... We've pretty much decided that it's brown. But, to my defense, I didn't know it was brown when I bought it. Because the sample looked reddish, and it looked like a lovely color. Anyway, let's see how it performs. For fire, there we go. Yes, it is very much a brown, but there are a little bit of reddish hues to it. Yeah, no, it's brown. Odin made a flub, it's brown, but sepia is kind of a red brown. This one also doesn't have too much in the shading. Not too much. Looking on the camera, you definitely can't see any sort of distinguishing reddish tinge to it, but it's a nice brown. It's not a red, I know. But I was not looking for a brown. Let's see what it does on copier paper nonetheless. Oh. This one has the similar, a thinner line more comparison to the Dante rather than the Cherry. And there's still no feathering. Well, there's a little, very little. You gotta look really close to see it, but it finds its neighborhood fabrics, or neighborhood fibers on the paper. This one, since it's more of a darker color, you can kind of see it a lot better than the Dante, but there's not too much bleed through in comparison, because I was fucking up right there, and you can still kind of see a little bit of it, but it's probably more of a behaving ink than your typical darker colors. Yeah. So, let us put some water on this thing. Water. This one you can kind of tell is going to go a lot faster. Let that soak in a little bit. Well, you can still pretty much, since this one's a darker color, you can still pretty much distinguish what you're going to write a lot easier than, like, the pinks or the reds. But it's pretty performable. It performs pretty well, I would say. Of course, I'm, like, rubbing it all over in the paper, but, you know, you kind of get the point with there. I'm not sure if I would buy this one again, because while brown, I will probably be looking for a brown later on. Not this color. There was more of a, crap, what was the color that I bought? Or that I got? June Ink Drops color had, I think it was Private Reserve? Yeah, I think it was a Private Reserve brown that I, got with the June Ink Drop that I really just fell in love with. It was like a coppery terracotta brown. That's probably more of the color that I would go for, not this dark. I mean, this one's kind of nice if you're writing antique-y, or if you want to pretend like you're making aged documents or something for props or costume, or you just want to do it. This would probably be a color that I would use for that. But it's probably not something I would use for everyday use. Because it's just kind of not my thing. What have we got next? Okay, now we have the cola, which is also a very deep red. Which is kind of surprising because I would probably picture cola to be more of a brown than a red. This is another one of the Atramentis scented ones. And again, the scent. This one is actually the best scent that I got from the series. The other ones were just kind of like, eh. This one was definitely my favorite of that one. So let's try this one out. Cola. This one's color is more comparable to the cherry, but it's definitely got lighter. It's definitely lighter and a little bit more brown to it rather than the deeper burgundy red. Let's see. Not a lot of shading in this one, which is something I actually like, but I go over that every time, but you know. Let us take a look at notebook paper now. Again, with the not a lot of feathering going on with this one. And I don't think there's a lot of bleed through on that. No, you can't really tell much of the bleed through of that one, which is good. This one kind of looks a little lighter than the cherry. Let's kind of make sure we can't see too much out of that. No, that's pretty good actually. Even with the little fuck up, it's kind of hard to see from the back, which is nice. So it's something that I would definitely be leaning towards using every day. As for the color is still not what I'm looking for. When I got these, I was actually looking for the Diamine Oxblood, and they were out of stock by that time, and it really, really made me heartbroken. But from what reviews I've seen, people are pretty much saying that it's pretty much the red that I want. So one of these days, once I rack up to getting another purchase of ink, I will probably be buying a full bottle of one of those. But I have to be good, and I have to promise myself to finish what I've used first before getting more. Alright. Now, water test for the cola. Whee. Whee. Well, this one doesn't have as much staying power. I think with the red, you kind of have a challenge with that in terms of pigmenting. But, yeah, for waterproofness, that one I probably wouldn't be dependent on. Alright, that was the Atramentis Cola scented. Hooray. Now, the final red-ish adventure isn't really a red, but still one of my favorites. The Noodler's Ottoman Rose. Now let's take a look at the behavior of this piece. This one's got the vacuum converter, so it obviously isn't can't move around too much, but it is not sticking to the wall, so I have no idea if that has anything to do with either the material the converters are made out of or the ink properties. But I'm just saying what I can observe. So let us start with this one. Let's go over here. Ottoman Rose. This one's a lovely burgundy-ish shade with lots more pinky tones to it. I like this one very much. It's very dark, very nice. However, still not the red that I am looking for. Very close. This is probably the closest that I will get until I find something else, obviously. This one's got a little problem with feathering already, but that might be my feed as well. Because I've already used this. This one's like one of my everyday pens, so I've already used this on the notebook paper, and I can already tell you this one feathers quite a bit. Watch, it's not going to do anything while I'm writing it now. Yep. That one really likes to bleed all over the paper. Yeah, it's got a very thick line. The feathering is a little bit more dramatic than with the Atramentis ones, but not so prominent. It's probably something that I would either try in a different pen or a fine line pen, or save just for special occasions using on bigger notebooks, because I would be wasting a lot of ink doing that. And we can see from the back, it bleeds a lot. That is the darkest one of these samples. Well, close in comparison to the cola. Or cherry. That's cherry, not cola. I think I want a cherry cola. You know? That sounds really good right now. Anyway, so now let us go to the water test. If that's dry at all. That one has a considerably longer drying time. Whoa. Yeah. That's getting all over the place. That is a mess. Woo. I can still use it as a watercolor. Yeah. That one will definitely probably ruin your paper, ruin every piece of word around it, surrounding it for many pages. There still is a background line, so you probably could make out what you were writing in the first place. But yeah, that one's gonna bleed everywhere. But it's still a very pretty color, and I just love Noodler's inks. So I may buy that one again, just cause. And I can already tell that I will have competition with it. But yeah. And lastly is a random yellow. I say yellow, it's gold. I believe I got the day Atramentis gold. I can't remember. Yeah. Actually, let me double check that. Hang on 1 second. Yeah, I did. I got the day Atramentis gold because for some reason I had a thing for that. But it isn't really too much of a gold. Let's see. Camera is showing a little bit of a greenish tinge to this, which it isn't, doesn't exist. It's actually more of a ochre, or a, yeah, I think that's the color I'm looking for. It's a very, yeah, it's gold, not metallic, definitely not metallic, but it's a very nice aged yellow. For some reason I wanted to buy a yellow in here. I was looking for a gold. It's a very pretty color. Probably definitely something that you would want to use on white paper, because that ain't going to be seen anywhere else. Now let's see what it does on notebook paper. Let me think. Not a lot of feathering, and the line actually comes out really nice and smooth. Again, there's not a lot of shading going on, and since this one's such a light color, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, there's practically no bleed through. You can kind of make out what you wrote on the back, but there's... I can't. Yeah, you can barely see that. Which is good. And for yellow, it's still pretty readable. And I just wanted to look at, I wanted one that was a little different for the rest of this. That was, Atramentis Gold. Overall, oh wait, I still have to do the water test on that one. I have a feeling that one's going to be pretty much total because it's yellow. Let us take a look. Let us take a look. What? Yeah, what kind of happens is that the base ink kind of just falls off. That text is not very well visible. What happens is pretty much, since this color's pretty light, the ink that is removed from it pretty much blends the rest of it together, so you can't make out what you've written. Definitely not something that you're gonna wanna use on something that you care about or that you're gonna be messy with. Yeah. This concludes my quest, part 1 of my quest for red, because I really don't think I found my red yet. Maybe I should do a scenario on, like, bulletproof inks or something to that extent, because, yeah, I think it's more towards what I want, but obviously the color choices are going to be limited. Yep. Hope this was insightful. If not, that's cool too. Hope at least we're entertained in my mindless rambling. I have purples coming up soon, and after that, I don't think I have any more of the pen stuff coming up. No, not until I buy another one or use up what I have in my pens. So until then, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks again for watching and joining me, and go with awesome.